am Kiko with beautiful Bella. We are going to connect with Instagram, but somehow I cannot.
Me too. Me too. I don't know if I can. It's not letting me either. Connect streaming software. Oh, here we go. I can do it. All right, we're here.
Oh, that's good that you can do it. Go live. Oh, yes, I think it's going live on Instagram.
It's working on my end. Yeah.
Yay, it's working.
All right, this is exciting.
Fantastic. Okay, I think YouTube is working as well because I see 0. No one is watching yet.
I see we have some viewers on Instagram. Hello, everybody.
Hello, everyone. Perfect. Okay, so
Okay, now David is telling me it's not broadcasting yet. Let me just tell him.
It might take some time. Oh,
okay.
Yeah,
we are. Okay, we got it.
Is it live?
But
I don't see on.
If everyone in the Instagram live can see us, can somebody make a comment, please?
Because I see it connected. I think it's good because I see 0. But usually when we are connected on YouTube, it starts and I don't see it.
Okay, Kathy tells us that she sees and hears us on Instagram.
Instagram is okay. Yeah, I know Instagram is good.
Oh, Natalia says YouTube doesn't seem to be working. Okay.
Interesting. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see it. It's funny. We might have to come back. Is that okay?
Okay, if that's the way, yeah.
Yeah, let's do it because it's funny because it's connected everywhere and somehow. Yeah, it says it's streaming, but it says on YouTube. It's streaming on YouTube and Instagram, and on YouTube it says sending data.
Okay.
So your YouTube channel is not also connecting, right? Might be
Oh, is it mine?
No. It's mine also.
Okay.
So.
It says mine is streaming.
On your YouTube?
Yes. Yep, I see it. Yeah, we're here.
Really? That's good. Well, okay. Well, at least one person's is working, so maybe we can stay with this. Yeah, it looks like that's funny. It never happened to me. Only with you last week also.
Really?
Yes. But good news. I'm a paid member, so this should be recording.
Okay.
I think, and it looks like it's working finally. There's one person. I don't know if it's that. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry for this delay. But for some reason, it's not connecting to my. Let me refresh it. It might cut off at some.
Okay. I will be here.
Okay. I am back, and let's see if it works. It seems to be the same issue, but it's okay. Facebook, Instagram is working, and somehow my YouTube channel is not working, but it's okay. Yours is working. Can you double? Okay, your YouTube is still working, right?
It is, yes.
Perfect. Okay, so let's do it. Okay.
Okay, so, I see. Yeah. Okay. Yep, we're all good. So we can start.
I think some people who has been watching us from the beginning, they enjoy our face. So anyway, my name is Kiko, I have been on a high raw vegan diet for over 20 years, and this year I have shifted to fully raw diet because I feel great. And having a beautiful raw vegan friend like Bella, it's helping me so much to stick with fully raw vegan diet where I feel the best. So I'm so sorry for last week's session because Bella and I had so much fun for an hour and 20 minutes. We had so much fun, didn't we, Ray?
We did.
And we felt so good. Bella went to sleep, and I did other things. And next morning, I saw it's not stream, it hasn't streamed, nor recorded. So I went on the paid version, and it's not streaming to my YouTube, but it should be recorded on Restream. So I will post it when this is done. At least Facebook and Instagram and Bella's Instagram and YouTube is working. So that's perfect.
We've got some friends watching. So hello
Yay.
everybody. Thanks for being here with us. Oh, Natalia says we both look amazing. Thank you.
Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, I'm so, Natalia, thank you so much for connecting and letting us know that it's working. So, how many times I had you on my channel? You are definitely my favorite person, and
Aw.
I'm always finding an excuse to bring her in. But she's got so much to share to the world, and this is one of the things that I'm really, really excited for others to see and have an access to Bella's, I don't know, magic stick, magic stick. She is a coach and music teacher. She's also a singer. She does other things. And one of the things that she has been studying a lot with astrology. And I like astrology. I like learning about myself and others. And it's fun to get to know about others through that tools. But it was always like hit and miss. And, it's kind of disappointing when it's a miss. And when someone tells you that this is supposed to happen in your near future. But the way Bella approaches is quite different, and there was no disappointment. And using her coaching skill, it really works well with being a teacher for over 20 years, was it? Yeah, yeah,
Mhm.
20 years, and she's already had this coaching personality, and she's um, investing and work investing and every year towards this to be a good teacher and coach. And because of that, her reading is quite unique, and that's why I had to convince Bella to come out to the world and share her talents. And after maybe fifth try, she finally said yes. So welcome, Bella.
Thank you, Kiko. Thanks for that sweet introduction. And yeah, thank you for having me back on your channel. I love talking to you. And this is definitely the safest space I feel to come out of the closet regarding my love of astrology, as I was putting it down earlier, because a lot of people in my life don't know that I'm into astrology. Just my closest friends, the people I feel the most comfortable sharing things with. Yeah. So should we start with how I got into it?
Yes, please. Your how you got into astrology, and also maybe a bit of history.
Right. Sure. So basically, I'm a I'm a student of religion and philosophy. I've been I've been that way my whole life. I minored in religious studies in college. That's how much I wanted to go deep. College religious studies turned out to be kind of disappointing, but it ended up being a pretty good foundation nevertheless. And throughout my years since being a student, an official academic student of religion, I've taken around 6 years at a time to dive right into one particular religion or philosophy. It's just like a thing I do. And about 5 years ago, I took up an interest in, I wanted to know what the religions were like before the Catholic takeover of Europe, which is how I call it. And it's not the official term, but when the official Christian church as we know it through European history rose up, all of the nature-based religions were wiped out. All of the indigenous religions across the world, not all of them, but a large amount of them were wiped out, specifically in Europe. A lot of people don't really think about European indigenous religion. That's pretty much what we tend to call pagan. And there's also the Egyptian religions, and there was so much I didn't know, and I wanted to understand what the spiritual beliefs were of people before everything became Christianized. And so I was just studying this as an academic curiosity. And I kept noticing that whether I was looking at a religion in Europe or Asia or the Americas, they all had some kind of astrology. And for me, I was not a believer in astrology because I consider myself to be a very serious person who, didn't fall for stuff like that. But I'm a good student. And so I said, well, I'm going to go ahead and learn about astrology because this is obviously the language of the people who existed thousands of years ago, and it informed their worldview. It informed the way they believed, it shaped their philosophy and their society. And so I need to understand it. And so I started just casually reading astrology books, and I took a few courses, and I even did some like courses on the goddess archetypes and started noticing there are a lot of similar names to the zodiac signs. And I was like, okay, so obviously this really is a big crossover. So long story short, I got to a point in my studies where a teacher said, if you really want to understand astrology, you have to start reading charts. There's no way around it. And so I said, okay, I'm a good student. I'm going to do this. I'll start with my chart. And so as I started studying my chart, I started noticing that things about my personality started to make sense. Things that had burdened me for my whole life, things that I had carried shame around. I started seeing these aspects in my chart, and suddenly I wasn't feeling the burden of that shame anymore. And that's when I started to open up my mind to the idea of studying astrology in a more practitioner way and taking it seriously. And so that's what I've been doing for the last few years is trying to understand how these patterns in our charts can highlight details in our personality that we may miss, like in therapy. When we do all the traditional healing stuff, there are things that we may not get. And I'm finding that those things come up easily in charts. And when I read other people's charts too, I think one of the reasons why I've gotten good feedback from people is that I seem to be tapping into things that they also didn't realize about themselves, or things that they felt shame around, or they just felt insecure about, or they thought this was like a flaw. But then when we look at it in the in the language of astrology, you start to realize it's not a flaw. It's just that every part of our personality has a potential for light and dark. And so maybe you've been leaning too heavily on the shadow side of that personality aspect. And what we need to do is figure out how to translate it into the gift side so that it can be transformed and it doesn't burden you any longer. So anyway, that's a lot of information. I'll stop there.
That was beautiful. I loved it. I love that 6 years on each religion. That's hardcore. That's hardcore. And I love it that you're such a curious person, and you are, you have this logical mindset, academic side, and you don't want to go into this like a woo,
Yeah.
like hippies kind that, you want the like science behind it, or reasoning behind it, meaning behind it. And it was I really enjoyed listening to the history of it. And to come to think of it, like it makes sense that, back then there was no light, so they were so connected to stars. And in the last reading, you were mentioning about how, you know, we're gonna go into my chart, but this is how your sky looked like when you were born, and it
Mhm.
just makes sense. Like, people were giving birth in this, outdoor and the nature connected, and it makes sense to be connected. And the nature is amazing, right? I think it's just a beautiful, perfect harmony in nature that I just I'm always impressed, and I really enjoyed listening to you. And the part of flow, you mentioned the light and dark side. The- You know, it's all about how you look at things, and dark side of flow could be looked at it as like a advantage of this person's character. How can we use that flow? And that's, I think, your forte in coaching, to help people to guide, you know, guide people into the direction they want to go to. So yeah, that's my.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really helpful because I think, at least in Western culture, we have a very either or, black or white way of seeing things. We don't really get nuance. It's not something that we're raised to understand. Things are either good or bad.
Mm,
And if something is bad, you need to feel bad about it. You need to feel ashamed of it so that you don't do it again.
mm,
And like one of the things in my chart is that helped that I one of the first things that made me believe that, okay, this is something I need to study for my own personal growth, is my placement of my moon in Sagittarius. And you have a lot of Sagittarius too, so we're going to talk about this a lot with you. My moon in Sagittarius taught me that one of my personality traits is that I like to talk a lot. And I see this actually in a lot of places in my chart, and a lot of, like, where my Gemini is, where my Venus is in Gemini, and where my Mercury is. It's like there's so much in my chart that says be a teacher, be a
mm,
speaker, be a performer, be in front of a crowd. You're supposed to use your voice, and people are supposed to listen to you. But
mm,
when I was growing up, I got picked on a lot. I was around the wrong people. That's really what the problem was. I was around people who found me annoying, and they didn't want to hear what I had to say, but there was this incessant need to talk about the things in my head, and being around people who didn't want to hear it led me to believe that it was a big problem. And so what happened was I spent years trying to present myself as this shy introvert because I wanted approval from everybody. Then when I started looking at my chart and I started realizing, oh, that annoying quality is actually one of my superpowers. If I could just learn how to fine tune it and maybe be a little more discerning about who I share that gift with. So, yeah, that's what I mean by understanding. And of course, like, Sagittarius can become, like, there can be a shadow side to it. Um, you could become you could become so good at communicating an idea that you become manipulative, and you coerce people into agreeing with things
mm,
whether they want to or not. You can be very persuasive. Like, that could be the sign placement of also a lawyer or a politician, which obviously these people can also be great gifts to the world depending on what they're arguing for. But those were the first two areas I thought of, because we think about corrupt politicians who are able to persuade people to believe in ideas that may not be so good for them.
yeah.
That's an example of the dark version of that gift.
Yeah, I could I can relate so much with your childhood. I think we must have gone through the same thing. I was like, yes, 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 that was me.
Okay, so that's going to be interesting when we get into your chart then,
Okay,
because you have a lot of Sagittarius. Yeah.
okay, cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, as you went into astrology reading, I mean, study 5 years ago, and why did you go into studying?
Astrology?
Yeah, astrology. Yeah.
Well, it was mostly because I really just I was in college. I was a sociology major, and so I learned about part of my education was going into communities that I didn't belong, and learning about them, like talking to them and asking them questions. And I learned how to have a very open mind about, and being the minor in religious studies, I learned how to have an open mind about people's beliefs. And I actually find it kind of exciting to be different, to be the odd one in the group, because I'm so curious about other people. And so the reason I wanted to study astrology was because this obviously was important to people of the past. And today we have a lot of people who just dismiss it. And I actually kind of find that offensive. I don't like to say that I'm offended because I think it's kind of weak, but I do find it a little offensive because I feel like there were like this was spanning the whole world. Cultures all over the world believed in astrology. So I think it's worth looking into at least. And so that's the way I convinced myself to do it. My skeptic, my ego was like, oh, my camera zooms in on me. Sorry. It's a hand signal thing. Anyway, so I remember my skeptic and my ego was like, oh my God, I can't believe you're really studying this. What are you thinking? What are you, some kind of gullible loser? Like, my ego was being so mean to me at the time. But my rational sociology student side was saying, no, this is just what you do. You need to be open minded to other people's beliefs. You need to understand where they come from. You need to understand how the system developed and how it influenced their culture. And so that's the approach I took. But then, of course, I decided to start practicing astrology as a for myself because it made a huge difference on my healing path.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, the two aspects on, yeah, how it was coming from religion, and same here in Japan. Like Shintoism is all based in nature. We believe, yeah,
Really?
yeah, we believe God is within everything. We have millions of God here in Japan.
Is
Yeah.
Shintoism the ancient earth-based religion of Japan?
Shintoism is the Japanese religion because Buddhism is most popular here, but Shintoism is basically yeah, connected to nature. It's all nature based.
Wow. And is there an astrology system in Shintoism at any point in time?
You know, Shintoism is such a secretive religion, I feel, that we don't learn so much, but I know it's based on religion. We not that not that I am aware of that they use astrology, but makes sense that they might use it. But I know like Indians and Nepalese, they're very, very hardcore on that, right? Like you can't even get married to the wrong,
That's right.
star. So.
That's right. They have their own system that still is alive today. Yeah.
Mm.
It exists in all kinds of cultures. The Americas, you find it all over the place. So yeah.
With that,
Yeah.
yeah. So that helped also for your, getting to understanding yourself because, once you understand yourself, the life is so much easier, isn't it?
Yeah. So what I did, and I'll recommend that other people do this if they're interested in learning astrology for their own personal healing benefit, is what I did was I started taking my chart and I just started with one sign, one sign, and noticing the planets in that sign and learning about the planets and the symbols. A lot of astrology is and it's metaphor, really. It's like interpreting a story. Like, you have it, I remember last time we were talking, I mentioned the hero's journey. And the hero's journey is the term was sparked by Joseph Campbell, who was a famous teacher of myths. And what he found was that every great story follows a pattern that he called the hero's journey. There were archetypes in each story that every human being could relate to. So the hero is the main archetype, and the hero is the character that gets called to go on a quest. So the Wizard of Oz is one of my favorite examples of the hero's journey, and Dorothy is the hero. She it has a challenge. Her house has fallen in Oz, and she wants to get back home. So she answers the call to go on this quest to find the wizard. Along the way, she has these friends, the Cowardly Lion, the Tin Man, and the Scarecrow. And they each represent different aspects that we can all relate to. The Tin Man is heartless, and he's cold, and he wants to have a heart. He wants to feel emotions. There's a part of us where we've all experienced moments where we shut down, and we have to find our way out of that. The Scarecrow wants courage. He's very no, sorry, he wants a heart. No, which what was the Scarecrow want?
Scarecrow, isn't it the one that he yeah wants? Oh, the brain. Yeah.
The brain, knowledge.
Right. Yes.
And then there's the Cowardly Lion who wants courage, and so he has to overcome his fears. They go through this journey. There's the tricksters, the flying monkeys, the wicked witch. Our chart tells a story. Our birth chart tells our own story. I heard one astrology teacher call it the reality show of you. And I loved that. I thought that made a lot of sense, because the birth chart really is like it's a map of your own life quest. There are parts in the chart that relate mostly to your childhood, and then there are parts that don't really make sense until you become an adult. And then there are things that happen in your chart which won't really make sense until you're in your 30s, and it keeps going like that. It's this hero's journey, and it really helps to be able to interpret symbols. That's part of the reason why I enjoy this, because of my religious studies background. Also, there's frequencies involved, like the archetypes have to harmonize with each other. That's where the musical knowledge comes in, or they conflict. They have dissonance.
Interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Fantastic. So, is there anything else that you wanted to cover before we go into chart?
I don't think so. I think we can go right into the chart. The only thing is it's good to keep an open mind. I don't personally believe that astrology necessarily predicts the future. I think what it does is it shows you where the potential lies. Everybody has certain potentials, and sometimes they lie dormant until you realize they're there. And then some people will force a potential that's not really there. And so sometimes we can see that, oh, you've been making too much of an effort in this one area, and in your chart it looks like that, like, why are you doing that? That there's another area that would be better, you'd be better off focusing on. So I think it's good to look at the chart as not like a set in stone, the future is certain kind of thing. It's more like, let's just figure out where the nuances are in your life and in your life path. Let's figure out where the potential is for your greatest success. That's my favorite thing to look at, is how can you grow into a better person?
That's perfect. That's fantastic. Okay, so let me open the chart.
Okay.
Oh, if that's okay. It's okay?
Yes, please. Yes.
Is that a good setting? So I wanted to share, this session is for, viewers to see how Bella would read your chart. And I'm an open book. You see my, when I was born, and my whole chart, and I'll be transparent. And maybe what we can do is, because Bella, what's your offering? You want to share?
Yes. So I'm offering to the viewers of Kiko's channel, and I guess mine, since we figured out how to stream, I'm offering a 30 for 30 special. So if you want a reading, I'll do 30 minutes for $30 only. And I'm going to do a 30-minute reading here so we can see how much we can learn in 30 minutes. And that will only be good from now until next week because I'm also in the middle of moving. So I can only do that for a short period of time, but I'd love to connect with other people. I love reading charts and getting to know people through their charts. So it'd be fun for me. And yeah, that's the
That
offer.
such a great deal, and I really appreciate your generosity to be able to reach out to you within this 1 week window time and such a reasonable price. So yes, okay. So what I'll do is I'll time half an hour so that viewers can see how it works, and then 10 minutes before, so like 20 minutes after she starts reading, I will give the sign 10 more minutes left.
Okay.
Then when it's 5 minutes left, I'll do this.
All right.
If I feel like you didn't see the sign, I'll remind you but I'll mute myself otherwise.
That sounds fine. Yeah. If you interrupt me, it's fine.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not gonna ask any questions, so 30 minutes, there you go.
Okay, great. All right, so we're going to focus mainly on the rising sign, the moon sign, and the sun sign, which you can see in the top right corner is listed already. And I've also taken a few notes on a few other really interesting points, and they some of them do relate to these three placements, but because of time, I'm going to focus on those three. And overall, when I was looking at your chart, I did notice a few really interesting things that kept coming up. I noticed that there are a lot of points that talk about your ability to connect with others. That kept showing up. Communication, being in groups of people, but in more of a leadership way. And I also saw that there's a lot of potential for success in this department, which we'll talk more about in the individual placements. I noticed that I kept seeing that material success comes easy. So I wouldn't be surprised if you've always been able to find a job, if you've always been able to find work. And leadership qualities, I think I said that already. Charisma, I saw that in your chart a lot. I also saw a deep interest in philosophy and spiritual stuff. That was in a lot of placements. Also, spiritual gifts. So that would be a deep sense of intuition, psychic abilities, also an ability to manifest and create. That's also in that category. And then shadows that I kept noticing in different placements that will you need to be aware of are a potential to be aggressive, coercion, as we talked about with Sagittarius, which we'll talk more in a minute about that, judgment of others. And again, these shadows can be transformed. So aggression can become a steadfast determinism to fight for something that's important to you. It's just good to be aware of the shadow side because, especially in terms of relationships, which your chart talks a lot about relationships, being connected to other people. So it's good to be aware of any chance of aggression coming out because that can hurt relationships, of course. And the ability to coerce can be a really valuable thing with the awareness of another person's will being their own and always having an awareness of that. And of course, judgment of others can be a benefit as well. That can lead to a great gift of discernment. It's just that in the shadow side, it can sometimes end up hurting you because you can focus too much on it, I guess, or it can become a source of criticism. But anyway, I don't want to start with shadows. We're going to go right into the rising sign first. Okay, so the first thing we notice about your rising sign, and if you're looking at the chart, I'm going to describe it because I know I can't point and you won't see me pointing. But the chart is like a clock. It's a wheel. And so if you go to the top half of the chart and you notice these lines that divide sections into these boxes. Those are called houses, and you'll see little icons inside of them, and those are planets. And if you go 3 houses to the left, counterclockwise, you end up in the 12th house, and there's a little, these little headphones. It's a little turquoise headphone icon. That's the North Node. And above it is the icon for Neptune. And these two planets are in the sign of Sagittarius. And they're also in the house, the 12th house. So this is where your rising sign is. And I'm going to talk a little bit about what the rising sign is. The rising sign is how you present to the world. It's how others receive you. It's how others see you. And you have energy in the sign of Sagittarius with this North Node and this Neptune. So there are some genuine Sagittarius qualities in your personality based on this chart. But the rising sign focuses more on how others perceive you, which sometimes won't always resonate with how you feel inside. So sometimes people can not feel like they behave a certain way. But you know what a good example of this? I once had a student who was 12 years old and she looked about 16. And her mom pointed out to me that that was very difficult for her daughter because people kept expecting her to act like a mature teenager, but she was really still a girl. She was still a child. And I remember thinking like, oh God, that must be frustrating. Like you show up, everyone sees a young, mature lady, but she's really just a little girl inside. That's a good example of what the rising sign can be for some people. But like I said, your rising sign actually it has a couple signs in there. So, but then again, one of them is the North Node, which is, okay, we're going to come back to that in a moment. Sagittarius rising would indicate a charismatic personality, someone who's really fun, someone who's adventurous, somebody who is blunt, somebody who likes to say it like it is. And sometimes that can offend people. But then the right people, the people who are confident, this is where discernment really is important. This is kind of like what I was saying earlier, where maybe if you have been around people who are easily offended by you, it might be a good idea to step back and ask yourself honestly, maybe are these people extremely sensitive and touchy when it comes to blunt honesty? And maybe I need to be around the more like New Yorker type who likes it, who likes to be told the truth, and can handle it, because not everybody can. So that would be one of the traits that you would present with. And so your rising sign is also in the 12th house, and you have Neptune in the 12th house. And the house is kind of like, I think of the house as being like a house, but I think of it more of an old-fashioned sense, like back in the day when there was royalty and you had the master of the house, and then you had his lady, or sometimes it was a woman if the husband had died, and then you had the children, and then you had all the servants. I mean, the house was full of people, and each personality contributed to the energy of the house. But the master really had the final say in the energy of the house. And so each house has its own unique energy, which will have an influence on how the planets play out. I also like to think of it as a play. So like the 12th house is a theater, and the 12th house has a special director. And the 12th house is actually directed by Pisces. It's not actually directed by Sagittarius, but you have Sagittarius in your Pisces directed 12th house, which means you have like two directors trying to work things out. That can cause some problems, but hopefully they can find what they have in common. And Neptune and North Node are kind of like the actors, and they are acting out their roles, but as they are dictated by the 12th house and Sagittarius. So you see how it's actually more complicated than just, oh, I'm an Aries, so I need to be a leader, blah, blah. No, it's not that simple. There's like so many details in here. And so, okay, so with you, you have 12th house energy. And this is one of my favorites. This is one of my favorite houses to look at because it's the house of, it's very mysterious. People with 12th house energy. And when I say that, I mean you have stuff in the house. You see how there are other houses, they're empty. But your 12th house has Neptune. And Neptune is also a very mysterious planet. It represents intuition, psychic abilities, mysteries. And so the fact that you have Neptune in your 12th house, in your rising sign, means that perhaps other people might see you as a bit mysterious as well. It's possible. They might find you, there might be some people who even find you perhaps standoffish, because that can be misinterpreted. Sometimes people with a lot of 12th house energy are just very secretive because they learned at a young age that if they share too much about what's going on in their thoughts or what they're experiencing internally, they get shut down and they get told that like it's not real. This, like I said, this is the house of psychic abilities. So if you have any kind of prominent psychic abilities or features or high sensitivities, you could have been told at a young age that, oh, that stuff isn't real, which makes you want to just shut down and be quiet, you know? And so there's also, that goes back to this Sagittarius quality, which the Sagittarian is an adventurer who needs to share, who needs to talk. And speaking of, you have the North Node. So that's, the North Node is those headphones right there. Now, this is where we might feel some conflict. You might feel some conflict with some of the things I'm mentioning. You might feel like, I don't know, let me explain why before I go into that. So the North Node, it represents the traits that we are here to learn throughout this lifetime. So basically, these traits in this house, in this sign, are actually kind of weak. They need to be strengthened. One of your challenges on this hero's journey of your life is to take the challenges that are related to 12th house energy and the sign of Sagittarius and overcome them. So if there is any part of you that feels like, I can't share this part of myself, even though it's such a big part of you, you have to learn how to share it. And the fact that it's in the sign of Sagittarius, Sagittarius is the teacher, the professor, the preacher. The Sagittarian is supposed to share their thoughts and their philosophy. It's part of what makes them unique and special, and it's what makes people love them, quite frankly. But if you have wounding around your Sagittarius traits, it's going to come across in a like a less productive way. You won't get comfortable with those traits. But with every challenge that you overcome, like let's say, I don't know which one of your sensitivities you have, but knowing you, I would say you probably sense the energy of other people pretty easily. And if you live your whole life denying this and gaslighting yourself, like being, let's say you go into a room with people, you're at a party and somebody starts talking to you and you can feel that they are no good. Like they're manipulative and they're trying to get something out of you, but you are in your head going, "Oh no, they're just being, whatever." Like you start gaslighting yourself. You're basically saying no to your intuitive ability. That's a negative point for your North Node challenge. That's a back to square one. Nope. You got to rise above that. You got to catch it when it's happening. You have to be like, okay, I'm doing that thing where I question my intuitive abilities. I'm going to experiment. I'm going to listen this time. And then let's see what happens. And then what's going to happen, I'll tell you right now, is good things are going to happen. And that's going to give you the confidence to do it again and again. And so once you develop that confidence, then you've overcome that challenge. And then you wait for the next one. The North Node in Sagittarius and 12th house is going to continuously give you challenges, and you have to be aware of them. Okay, we're going to move on to the next sign. Good? Okay.
Yep. Go ahead.
All right. So let's see. I'm just going to check my notes, make sure I didn't miss anything. I think I got it. Oh, one more thing I'll mention is the North Node is also opposite the South Node. So if you go directly across on the diagonal, you see the upside down headphones. That placement is in Gemini. The South Node indicates the things that you're already really good at. And what a lot of people do in this life, unfortunately, is they lean on their South Node traits because these are easy. They came in with these natural abilities. Like this reminds me of, I sometimes get music students who are naturally good. Like they master every concept very quickly, but it only lasts so long. And after about 2 months, it starts getting hard and they quit because they can't handle the pressure of change. They can't handle the challenge. They want to lean on their natural abilities. So for you, Gemini, you are a natural communicator. So, I mean, you have like the best opposing North Node and South Node because that's also part of your North Node challenges, but in a different way. Sagittarius is more like the leader. You have to be comfortable sharing your leadership abilities, whereas Gemini is more like the relationships, communicating, very philosophical, just like Sagittarius. So big thinker. These are easy qualities for you. I don't know. In my opinion, it's not a big deal to go from there to Sagittarius. So good for you. Lucky break. Okay, let's move on to your sun sign. Let's go to the moon sign next. So your moon is in Virgo and it's in the 8th house. This is really interesting because the 8th house and the 12th house share so much in common. And your rising sign is in the 12th house, as we just talked about. And your moon is in the 8th house, which is the house of, it's known as the house of, don't get scared. It's known as the house of death and transformation. And that doesn't mean literal death. It just means change. It just means lots of change. And also, this is a house that indicates an ability to sense paranormal things like ghosts or I don't know, like if you have any kind of an ability to communicate with the dead, you would see planets in this house, that kind of thing. People with this kind of energy have had experiences where they've seen ghosts or they've had experiences like that. I don't know if you have, I'm kind of curious, but it's also just, it's basically, the reason I say it's similar or it's related to the 12th house is because it's part of this mysterious realm, this ability to go very deep into your subconscious. The fact that your moon represents your subconscious, your internal world, your it's a very feminine quality, and women are known to already be highly intuitive. So when we think of feminine energy, especially with the moon, we're talking about very deep psychic and spiritual abilities, an ability to go deep. And that's where your moon is placed, in the 8th house. It's also in Virgo, which also indicates. So this is where I was talking about earlier. Okay, so Virgos can be perfectionistic, very detail oriented. They make good managers, and they have very high standards. They can be very critical. Things to watch out for are micromanaging people, being nitpicky, maybe being too hard on them for things that maybe don't need to be addressed. Maybe, maybe this is the fact this is your moon in this sign. This is an internal thing, so you may not actually ever share these things out loud, but you might feel them. You might feel a sense of judgment or frustration with people, and it's just good to know that so that you can work with it. That's all. Okay, I think I'm going to move on from this. There's only one planet in that house, and we'll go on to your sun. So your sun is in Scorpio.
Okay.
And if you yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. Great. So I'm gonna try to merge your Scorpio sun with your 10th house, which is at the top of the chart. So if you go to the very top of the chart and you look to the left, there are two houses. You can see one house has 4 icons in it. And then if you go one step further, the next house has 2 icons in it. That's Scorpio in the 11th house. You have your sun conjunct with Venus. First of all, the sun is, we all know what sun signs are because whenever anybody asks you, what is your sign? What they're talking about is your sun sign. And the reason why it gets so much importance is because the sun is very important. If you think about the earth, nothing on the earth would be able to live without the sun's energy. So in a way, the sun influences everything in the chart. The sun is the king of your whole chart. And so wherever your sun is placed, it has a bit of an influence on everything. And so your sun is placed in Scorpio, and Scorpio is the most intense sign of the zodiac. It's a very mysterious sign. It can be quite intense. Scorpios are known to hold grudges, which also, trying to go positive, I would say a resiliency, an ability to hold tight to an idea. I really don't like to be negative. But yeah, Scorpios can be a little aggressive. And I think maybe that coupled with the moon in Virgo and the 8th house, it's just good to keep it in mind and to just be aware. It's just something to keep in mind. Remember, like I said, we want to understand how these things work so that we can find the gift within them. Now, I found it very interesting to see that your sun is conjunct with Venus. Venus is a beautiful energy. It's very feminine. It's very creative. This house also indicates group interaction, and this placement makes me think of leadership. I keep seeing leadership in your chart, and then I don't mean to rush this, but I do want to mention also to the right, that 10th house with those 4 icons. You've got so much going on in there. That's also a placement that tells me leadership, leadership, leadership. Venus being in the sign of Scorpio indicates to me a high level of creativity and a beautiful ability to connect with others. Now, the fact that it's in Scorpio means that you do have to be aware of a tendency to maybe get angry, maybe hold a judge, maybe be too judgmental. It's good to be aware of those things within yourself so that when you start to feel those things, you can practice discernment. Ask yourself again, like maybe the judgment is deserved. Maybe the anger is deserved. But it's good to know about you that maybe also I'm just exercising my Scorpio energy. Maybe that's also what's going on, So it's good to know that. And then to the 10th house, and then we'll stop here. You have Mars, Uranus, Mercury, and your midheaven, which indicates where success comes the most, like most easily. And what I see here is the fighting spirit with Mars, the great awakener of Uranus, and the great communicator of Mercury. So overall, in just this very short time, I would say that if you wanted to really take the next step in your growing journey, take it to the next level, focus in on your communication abilities. Try to take it to the next. You're already good at it. So see what you can do to take it to the next level. Find ways that find things or systems, some kind of practice to help with anything that might help in dealing with a sense of agitation. Try to find practices or mental thought practices throughout the day that can help assist you to remain calm at all times, because it's in those moments of agitation where you risk the growth factor the most. Okay, I'll stop there. How did I do? Did I do 30 minutes?
Yeah, you've got 5 more minutes.
Oh,
So
good
yeah,
question.
that was amazing. So you want to leave it for me to ask questions?
Yeah.
Actually, I don't have much questions. I just it was so clear, and I jot down quite a few ideas, and I love it how you ended on communication. Definitely, I mean, you are spot on every single thing, really. And it's not just because she knows me as a friend. I mean, there are so many incidents that of course, I didn't share with her. And it's true, I can communicate easily with people. The monetary thing, like I can, yeah, I got really, I got into, I got jobs maybe easily. Because maybe I can connect well, and people think that, I don't know, people think that I'm smart. and
You are smart.
and but it's interesting because even though I can connect well with people, I somehow burn the bridge easily. And it's not like I'm not doing anything shocking. I always check with my husband, like, what did I do? Like, but maybe because of my discernment, even though if I don't say it, it just comes off. And I tend to have this, because people think that I manipulate easily, but I don't. I'm the worst person to manipulate. Like I cannot control. I don't want to control. I cannot control myself. So how can I control others? But I have the image of it so that people are more cautious with me, even though they feel connected. And yeah, actually a lot of like friends who got offended by me, when they come back to me, they say, "Oh, I missed you so much," and I don't even remember. I'm not mean to be dry about it, but there's something that I need to work on communications, like I said, that even though I don't say it, somehow it comes across. So, yes.
Yeah, and so what I would do next, if I were you, if this was my chart, I would say, okay, I would examine some of these relationships where somebody has called me manipulative, and I would ask myself an honest question: is there any chance I was? And if I feel like no, I really don't think I was being manipulative, then I might look at them and I might ask, are they the kind of people who are so attached to their beliefs, so attached to their opinions, that even the presence of another opinion feels manipulative to them? Because
Mm.
that's also a thing. And when you have a lot of Sagittarius energy, that I love when people say that, like, it's hard to stay mad at a Sagittarian. I've heard people say that, meaning it's easy to get mad at a Sagittarian, but it's hard to stay mad at them, because they can offend very easily, but then they're they're like so they mean well. They don't mean to offend. They're not trying to be jerks or anything. It's just that some people operate under a script of very careful, delicate ways. Like everyone is always very careful about what they say around them. And then the Sagittarian comes into the room and they just make a blunt observation that, you know, that person didn't want to hear. Like they would rather you just pretend like the house looks perfect, but you come in and point out the broken clock or something, you know?
That was so beautifully said. Yeah, I have a very strong discernment that people might not want to hear. And it might be the area that they're working on that just, I'm just stepping on the bomb. So one more minute. Oh, it's my husband on my screen. Yeah. So anything else that you want to add? Just 50 seconds.
Just that I've been there. I totally get what you're saying. That's one of the reasons why I love astrology so much, because for so much of my life, I heard people would say things to me like, okay, there is such a thing as choosing wisely when to speak. And so I have been guilty of saying the wrong thing at the moment. It wasn't villainous or anything. It's just, it was the wrong thing at that time. But me being this blunt Sagittarian, I'm like, I'm thinking this thing in my head. And it's like the last thing they need to hear. You know, they're very upset about something. so that's also a good thing to know about yourself, that like, oh, hey, maybe sometimes I need to be aware that they're oh, is that you or me?
It just wanted to
Oh,
make sure that
timer. Okay.
half an hour. Yeah, I think that was very good. Yeah. So I really appreciate that you were able to, we actually have quite a common signs, right, in houses. So that was
We
very
share a lot of 12th and 8th house energy, which is why I was able to speak so expertly on that, which I just adore having 12th and 8th house energies. It can be very difficult though as a child. Growing up with those energies can be very, very isolating. And sometimes people who, this is another reason why I think astrology is important and helpful, because when people have certain intuitive abilities and they're shut down, they can be medically diagnosed. Like, think about the person who hears voices. That's a schizophrenic, according to psychiatry. The person who sees visions, I don't know what you call that, but that's also diagnosable. All of these psychic gifts can be interpreted as medical problems. And if they are in the wrong environment as children with people who don't understand and perhaps even fear them, that can be an extremely difficult situation to grow up in. And so maybe you survived that childhood and maybe you became a functioning adult, but you're still hanging on by a thread and you don't understand why you feel so alien. Then you look at your chart and you're like, oh, I got 12th house energy and 8th house energy. And of course. And then that's when it's like your shoulders can relax and you can go, all right, it's time to get comfortable with this part of myself and no longer feel ashamed of it. And maybe it will grow into something. My guess is that it will grow into something incredible, which is the reason why I'm motivated to give readings now, because I know for myself, it's been a huge game changer in my life. You know, I'm a singer, and it's weird for me to say this, but I spent about 7 years dealing with intense stage fright. And this was long after I had a career in music. And it was so difficult and it held me back. And it was long before I learned about astrology. And when I started looking at my chart, I started realizing how important my voice is, and how, like, the singer is all over my chart, the performer is all over my chart. And certain things that happened to me in my social relationships stunted that growth. And by seeing the permission slip in my chart, I realized, oh, I need to recover these parts of myself. That's the only thing that's going to get me to the next level in my life.
Mm, that's beautiful. I would love to learn your chart as well. This was a vulnerable moment for me as well, like putting myself out there and sharing. But for judgmental or being a critical thinker or discernment, uh, I um, I think working on myself,
Hmm.
and because I am quite hard on myself, and I'm working on it. Like I'm much better. But as I am more generous and just focus on development or achieve, positive progress than just criticizing and learn from. I mean, of course, I learn from criticize, but you know what I mean. Like,
Hmm.
I focus. Okay, that's good. That was a lesson, and just focus on where I have to go. And I'm getting much better at it. And as I'm getting better on dealing myself, I think that shows to others as well. I always think that this it's just a reflection of myself that people pick up.
Definitely. And leading by example is a thing, and you have leadership in your chart, and that makes a lot of sense. So I want to mention that somebody in the Instagram chat mentioned Ascension Affirmations mentioned the energies were intense the last 2 days. People are very sensitive, perception shifting. I wanted to point out the comment because it's true. The last 2 days, wow, it's been very exciting for somebody who loves astrology, but quite intense for the world, quite intense for everybody. There have been so many things happening, and if people have been feeling irritable or unsure or depressed, even like whatever your style of dark is when things get difficult, then it makes a lot of sense. And one of the things that I've been learning recently, I've been studying astrology for about 5 years, and it's definitely one of those things where you'll spend a whole lifetime learning. And so I'm not a master in any way. I've just learned quite a bit over these years. And oh, did I lose Kiko? Oh, there you are.
Sorry, I'm trying to get back to yeah.
Um, One of the things that has been helping me in trying to understand the energies is I've been now on the path of studying how the transits, meaning so the chart that we were looking at, that's a map of the sky when you were born, Kiko. The sky is always changing. And right now, if a baby was born right now, there would be a map of the sky preserved in their chart. And then in 20 minutes, it would be different. The tomorrow, it would be different. There would be different things happening. Now, some planets stay in place for a long time, they're slow moving. And one thing you do when you start to get to a more advanced level of astrology is you start to learn how the transits in the sky right now harmonize with your birth chart. And so some people will feel certain things and others might not notice it. So there's something happening right now. I'm trying to think of an example, but I'm kind of blanking. So right now the sun is in Leo. The sun is in Leo. Leo is the performer. And so you would look at your own chart, and let me look at your chart real quick. And you would look for the sign of Leo, and where is it? Okay. And in the sign of Leo, you don't have any planets. So, but Leo is in a house. Okay, so there's still energy. You have Leo in the fifth house. That's cool. That's Leo is in my fifth house, so I can tell you exactly what that means.
Okay.
So what this would mean is that because Leo is in the sun is in Leo right now, it's magnifying those energies in your own chart. And so the fifth house, Leo in the fifth house, has to do with, well, Leo is the performer. Leo is the star. Leo loves to be the center of attention. And so the fifth house is creativity, and
I don't have a Leo, right? Do I have Leo?
you don't have any planets in there, but you do have Leo in the fifth house. Oh, sorry, no, it's not in the fifth house. It's in the. I'm looking at the wrong number. It's in the eighth house. My mistake. So that's the house that we were talking about with the house of death and transformation and change and ghosts and mysteries. And so
I'm sorry, ace is Leo, so there's 34 and 11, right? That 34 is
so where you see the number 34, that's the degree. And if you go to the edge of the wheel, and there's a rectangle with a number 8 in it that frames that house. Do you see that?
Yeah.
That indicates the house. And so you have Leo in the eighth house. So it would just mean that right now you might be feeling a lot of energy in that part of your personality. You might be feeling a call to pay more attention to your intuition, your subconscious, investigating your internal world. And because it's in Leo, you might also feel called to share, which is exactly what you're doing right now. Like you've been on fire, no pun intended. You've been on fire with your lives. You've been doing lives every day. You even did one earlier. This is your second live today.
Yeah.
So you're really putting yourself out there. You're really taking advantage of the Leo energy right now.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna bring it down, remove. Okay, so that was great. I think we, within 30 minutes, I even had a time to ask questions. So when you share this session, 30 minutes, $30, it'll be 25 to 20 to 25 minutes reading, and you let them to ask questions. Is that?
Yeah, that sounds. I like to have. I really enjoy the conversation part because I used to be a social worker. I had 3 years of a social work at the very beginning of my adulthood.
Wow.
I was technically an entry level social worker, but it was a pretty intense job, and I had a lot of really good training. And I was a hotline counselor, and I worked in a shelter, a women's shelter. And so I learned a lot about. I love listening to people. I love trying to understand what's going on with them. And so I enjoy the communication part of astrology. It's actually one of my favorite ways to get to know people. Whenever I meet a new friend, I love to, once I feel like I'm comfortable enough and they won't think I'm a weirdo, I'll ask them if I can read their chart for them. And it'll be a great way. We'll usually spend like 2 hours together going back and forth. And it's just a great way to get to know people. So I enjoy the conversation part. We'll definitely have like a little conversation at the very end.
That's great. So for 1 week from now, you would offer this half an hour, and if someone is interested to hear, because there's so much more, right? I mean, you can go. I think you have covered a lot, and I have definitely benefited. And the important part, communication has been part of my life. That's for sure. And especially in communication, my career always had to do with communication. That was a huge part of my career. Not this is not my career.
That's right.
Yet, but working as a consultant, coach, facilitator, interpreter as well.
Travel guide.
Yeah, the tour guide. Yeah. So always had to connect with people quickly, and yeah. So that your advice gave me a very good focus point where I have to focus on communication, because I cannot ignore it. What you were saying, and it's always with me. So Thank you so much.
You're welcome. That was so much fun. I enjoyed that. And I'm so happy that people watched. We had quite a few people on Instagram. We still do. It looks like it, if this is correct.
Oh,
So thank you, everybody who watched. It was so nice to have you here.
that's fantastic. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I didn't check the Facebook group. That yeah, I really appreciate. I know that quite a few people found it very interesting. So I know some people will be watching later,
Mhm.
and yeah, I love to connect and being uh, receiving advice from people who are in tune in themselves. And for me, raw vegan is it's such an important, essential part of being in tune and be connected to nature. Something what I feel like it's a very logical way to live.
Mhm.
And I'm not judging others not to do it, but this is how I feel is the way to go, especially for me, and it's ethical and ecological. So yeah, I might have had that. I don't know. It might have sound negative for others. This is this is someone. Yeah, this is something that people might feel scared or yeah. I I I tend to do this. I just hurt myself. So,
Some people get nervous, and they don't have to do it. Maybe it's not for them, you know?
mm, yeah.
Yeah. There are
Yeah,
other ways.
yeah, I definitely don't think, expect everyone to be that way. And I have been hiding for over 20 years. And I haven't shared much on this raw vegan
Wow.
journey. And it just became so loud in my mouth, in the voice that it was not, I just couldn't stop keeping it to myself. Yeah.
That's that North Node in Sagittarius. That's what I think that is.
Yeah.
That's you. For 20 years, you've kept it very quiet. That 12th house, the house of secrets, you've kept it. You've kept it very internal. You haven't wanted to share it with people, but that Sagittarian needs to come out. It's
Yeah.
telling you to come out.
Yeah, it's a sensitive topic because it's we talk about food and even with like veganism and then raw vegan, right? So that makes it so uncomfortable for people, and that's one of the reasons. That's the biggest reason that I didn't share with people around me, or
Mhm.
even in a work setting. I always kind of try to hide it,
I can relate.
just because I don't want them to feel uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But didn't care at the end. So many people forgot how I ate anyway, and I have to express so that people like me who was suffering over 20 years ago can find uh, this diet or lifestyle that was a huge lifesaver for me. So definitely, I'm not coming from a judgmental place. I just hope that I'm finding someone like me
Yeah.
uh, to find that there's an alternative way to feel excellent.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad that you're doing it. I'm glad that you're sharing because I agree with you. There are a surprising number of people who are willing to do anything to heal whatever is going on with them. Some people are even willing to give up cooked food. you know, it sounds insane until you're face to face with a very serious health problem. And
Mm,
then you're willing to do anything. And for a lot of people, they come to raw veganism that way. Most people don't become raw vegan just for the fun of it. Most people don't. I don't think I've ever met anybody who tried it on a whim, just thought, oh, that looks like fun. I've never met anybody who thought that. Everybody has some kind of a story where they were faced with a problem and they were willing to try anything. And then once they fixed the problem, they felt so good, they had to keep going with it
mm,
because they didn't know how good they can feel. And then when they try to go back, they try to go back to the old ways because they're feeling good and they think everything is fixed. But then they realize, oh God, I have to be raw for the rest of my life. I'm thinking about myself now.
Yeah, and it turns out to be we are the lucky one because we were sort of forced to go into this diet where we feel amazing. I mean, better than ever. So I do feel like we are the lucky
Yeah.
ones.
Well, thank you for working so hard and doing your channel. I think you're doing a great job. I really love seeing your videos about your cafe, and I love it. I know you're going to have a lot of success with that, and I think it's really cool that you're bringing this idea to your city and your country. It's awesome. So
Oh,
cool. What
yeah.
used to be a fringe California thing is now spread around the world, you know? It's awesome.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, I just have fun and yeah, hope to connect with soul that needs that information.
Mhm.
But okay, well, Bella, thank you so much. I loved your reading. You owned this. She was not comfortable at all because she thought that she was an amateur reader, but you definitely didn't speak like amateur. You owned it. It was very clear, and I just hope that people who need some guidance is can see this in this short period of time. Yeah.
Thank you, Kiko. I appreciate the confidence and I appreciate the chance to read live. That was definitely a really fun challenge. Also, part of my chart. It's in my chart to do stuff like this. That's why I said yes. So I appreciate you very much. And David says, takes courage to take ownership. Ownership will give you courage. That's right. That's right.
Oh, so sweet, David, your partner. Fantastic. So we've been speaking 1 hour and 20 minutes, just like the last time.
Yeah.
We were not-
I'm just going to go out there.
Okay, well, so we're gonna end here. Thank you so much for everyone for you who listened to it and commented, and please subscribe and like Bella's channel or mine. We really appreciate it. We are not making any money out of this. We are doing it so we can serve others, and at the same time we are serving ourselves as well.
Yeah.
So until next time. Oh yes, important thing. Bella and I are doing a weekly podcast. Is that
Yeah.
right?
That's right. That's right.
Yay! I'm
Yeah.
so excited.
Me too. We're gonna have so much fun. I just think this is really fun. So I'm looking forward to having more conversations, and we can talk more about raw food, like we talked about. Next time we'll get together. We haven't decided on a topic yet, but
Right.
we talked about maybe pulling from the beauty food series that I just finished.
Yeah.
So
If
yeah,
anyone is not subscribed to her email list, definitely go ahead. And Instagram, I mean, she's such a great writer, and no wonder because she loves it. She enjoys it. I write, but I do not enjoy it. I have to go into the zone, which takes a bit of time. And her design on Instagram is so beautiful. Same thing with Substack. So yeah, I really appreciate you sharing that information. So well, next time we'll share soon on our topic, but most likely from her Substack beauty series. So
yeah. We'll share some good information with everybody, and
mm,
yep, I look forward to more. So thank you, Kiko. I appreciate it.
thank you, Bella, so much, and we'll see